everybody? Jimmy Smith. Kind of a pre-fight breakdown of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr. If you are a fan of my channel, if you subscribe, I already covered this to some degree on my podcast with Ryan Moody. I wasn't going to do another standalone one. And then Andy Ruiz weighs in 20 pounds heavy for his fight. Not overweight, obviously. There's no limit in that regard. But 20 pounds heavier than his last fight to take on Anthony Joshua. So I felt I needed to speak about it because of the weigh-in problem. Look, what this fight boils down to me, are the problems Anthony Joshua faced against Andy Ruiz fixable? Are they tactically fixable? That's what I see on his end. On Ruiz's end, does the money, does the attention, does the fame make him kind of go off the deep end in terms of his training and his commitment? Now, let's talk a little bit first about Anthony Joshua. What a lot of people don't talk about, or people aren't talking about enough, the loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. was his 23rd professional fight. He doesn't have a ton of experience, especially at the ultimate level. When you look at his career, when you look at his actual pro record, what you'll notice is, obviously the biggest fight of his career was against Vladimir Klitschko. I think Klitschko at that point was a shadow of his former self. It was his last professional fight. He wasn't what he used to be. Great fight, really exciting, fantastic stuff, won by TKO in the 11th round. But after that, no huge names. Povetkin, okay, he's all right, but it's not like every fight after that was a big name, gigantic, marquee event, must-see TV pay-per-view. That wasn't the case. So he doesn't have a ton of experience, not just in his professional career period, only 23 fights, but in terms of big fights with big expectations. This is a big fight with big expectations. So Andy Ruiz Jr. was able to, if you haven't seen the fight, Joshua knocked him down. Then Ruiz came back, threw a combination, knocked him down, and really hurt him. I think that was the difference. Ruiz got knocked down, Joshua got hurt. And what I didn't like in that fight, when I look at the rematch, is there are a couple things. Number one is, under duress, he didn't change anything. Meaning, everybody talks about Muhammad Ali's chin. Yes, Muhammad Ali had a fantastic chin. When he was hurt and someone was after him, Ali shuffled and moved very, very well. He was a very sound defensive fighter, and he changed things when he got hurt. When he got hurt, he didn't stand there and try to slug his way out of trouble. He didn't do that. He would move and counter and pick his shots and kind of play the cobra. Meaning, my head's moving, but I'm going to strike you if you're not careful. That's what Ali was great at. Of course, he had a great chin, but Joshua, as soon as he was hurt by Ruiz, kind of went back to doing what he was doing. Lazy with the lead hand, didn't use much footwork, allowed himself to get pushed against the ropes very, very easily by a much shorter opponent. His fight IQ under duress wasn't very high. He didn't make the right adjustments when things weren't going well. And I always look for that. Bernard Hopkins was known for that. He made great in-fight adjustments. Smart fighters make great in-fight adjustments. And I thought Joshua, as soon as he was hurt, everything kind of went out the window. And really great fighters in any weight class generally make the right decisions even when they're rocked. They're like, okay, I have to recover. I got to do the right thing. And Joshua just went back to doing what he was doing. And it didn't include footwork. It didn't include great movement. It didn't include bringing his lead hand up. His lead hand was still super low, and that allowed Ruiz, and that's your first line of defense is your lead hand, and he wasn't using it properly. So that was a problem, right? But his fight IQ wasn't there when he needed it to be. And once again, only 23 professional fights. It's not a whole lot. So that concerned me. Of course, anytime you get knocked out the way he did, people are going to question your heart and your desire, and that's fine. Just because he's a physical specimen, maybe he's used to bullying fighters around and kind of being the boss, and as soon as he wasn't the boss, he didn't know exactly what to do. The issue is, those are hard fixes. There wasn't anything, okay, he needs to fix these one or two things. His general defensive fight IQ didn't look very high. And, of course, the idea that he kind of folded under duress, I mean, it's hard to fix that in the gym. It can be fixed, but it can take a while. And to jump right back in there against the same opponent, that can be bad. So those are the two questions leading in this fight that I had before the weigh-in. Now, on the Ruiz side, you have to understand that as boxing fans and pundits, or whatever you want to call the people talking about this, myself included, whatever you want to call us, there's always the negative stereotype of the upset. right? Of the fighter that wasn't expected to win, getting a big win, suddenly being under the bright lights, getting a huge payday. How much do they want to win the rematch? And that's the negative side to the Andy Ruiz Jr. story. If you're a boxing fan, if you've been a boxing fan for a significant amount of time, which I have because I'm old, I've seen a lot of upset fighters. They pull the big upset, they make the big money, and they never have a great career after that. The biggest example, of course, is Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson. Knocks out Mike Tyson, and then in the rematch against Evander Holyfield, he's overweight, he's unfocused, he's unprepared. He made a $24 million payday in, $1990, and it was give me my check. He stepped on the scale, looked like crap, give me my check. And he was never a factor again in the heavyweight division after that. Obviously knocked down in the third round. Third round, I think. Who else? Hasim Rahman. Not that he was out of shape, but beat Lennox Lewis. Then Lennox Lewis destroyed him in the rematch. He never had a career after that, really. Fought some big names, but never, once again, a huge factor in the division. Corey Sanders, who, Vladimir Klitschko, he beat. And then, never a great heavyweight after that. Lost to his brother, Vitaly Klitschko, and then that was it. Lost Hasim Rahman actually. That's a constant theme in boxing, is the upset. You make big money, but you're a one-hit wonder. You never get back there again. The one thing that differentiates those in the eyes of the fans and in the eyes of the media is: are you in shape for the next fight? Buster Douglas was not in shape. Riddick Bowe against Evander Holyfield wins the first fight, comes in the second fight out of shape. Didn't look ready to go. He was only 11 pounds heavier, by the way. If you remember the second Riddick Bowe Holyfield fight, he was 11 pounds over and looked like a different dude. And everybody was going, man, you don't look ready for this fight. And it was a close fight. Maybe if he had been 10 or 11 pounds leaner, he would have won that fight. So that's a constant theme in boxing is, you win one big fight, whether it's an upset or not, and for the rematch or the next one, you're just not mentally there. Now, a $10 million payday for Andy Ruiz Jr., biggest of his career, you can live on that the rest of your life if you manage it properly. Joshua's getting, $85 million? Now, that's huge. The question leading into this fight, before the weigh-in was, is Andy Ruiz Jr. still really hungry? Metaphorically speaking. Does he have the desire to really work hard enough to win this rematch? When you weigh in 20 pounds heavier than you were for the first fight, you're telling everybody that you're not. That may not be the case. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. I wasn't in his training camp, and fighters lie. Their teams lie. Their coaches lie. They all do. So it's hard to tell what the truth is. Everybody had the greatest camp ever. Best camp ever had. I've heard that I don't know how many times. Right? So you don't know what Andy Ruiz went through, and they're not going to tell you the honest truth anyway. But the scale doesn't lie. And when I saw him weigh in, it wasn't 23 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it was, of muscle. He looked like the same dude with extra weight. And that's a lot of weight even for a heavyweight. Once again, Riddick Bowe was, I think, 11 pounds heavier and just looked like crap in the second fight against Holyfield physically. So 20 is a lot, even for a heavyweight. So the problem psychologically for Andy Ruiz Jr. is, if you are Anthony Joshua's team, if you're his camp, you don't want him to be reminded of the first fight. Whenever you rematch somebody and you beat them, especially if you knock them out, you want to psychologically reestablish those parameters again. Remind them, I knocked you out last time. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put you through what you went through last time, which was hell. You want to put them back in that psychological space, right? That's where the head games start. The issue is, if there is something your team can seize on, your coaches can seize on, you can seize on, to make you go, nah, you're not in the shape you were last time. Everybody around Anthony Joshua, as soon as Ruiz stepped on the scale and it said 20 pounds, 280, whatever it was, they all went, see, he's not ready. See, he's not going to have the energy he had last time. See, he's not taking this seriously. And you start hearing that and you start believing it. You start looking for things, whenever you fight a rematch, that make the conditions different. You look for anything that makes it, all right, this time he's not doing this. You're going to beat him. Oh, this time he did this. I'm going to beat him. When your opponent is 20 pounds heavier, everybody around Joshua is going to tell him he's not ready. And that might give Joshua the psychological boost he might need to get over a fight that I think mentally would have been and may still be extremely challenging. I know if I'm his coach, I am harping on that. He's not as ready as you are. Joshua was lighter than the last fight. He looks a little bit leaner. He looks more like a boxer in this weigh-in than he did in the last one. So the problem with Ruiz Jr. is there is a well-worn story of this kind of thing happening. Boxers getting the first big payday of their career and going off a cliff. Now, I'm not saying Ruiz has done that. I don't know what was in his camp, but you damn well can believe everybody around Joshua is telling him that story to build up his confidence. If Ruiz had gotten on the scale, not lean and mean, it's just that's what his body is, but looking similar and going, I'm going to put you through what I just put you through last time, you're going down, buddy, you start believing it. There's a little bug in your head that, man, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want that to happen. And psychologically, looking unprepared in the way that Andy Ruiz Jr. looks unprepared now, and also you're looking at a fight stylistically and tactically that Ruiz is going to have to take some chances to get inside. He just is, right? He's the shorter fighter. He's a stockier fighter. He's a better inside fighter. Got nice fast hands, but he's got to be at close range to do it. So a fighter that can keep you at a distance and use the jab effectively and knows that you might not have the physical capacity to take the risks you need to take to get in. You're going to be a lot slower. You're carrying around an extra 20 pounds. I can keep you at a distance, and you're not going to be able to take the risks to get inside. You know what I mean? They're not going to start out trading punches. Joshua, if he's smart, will stay on the outside, and he can hit Ruiz, and Ruiz can't hit him. So Ruiz has to sell out at some point to get inside. And when you're facing a confident fighter who thinks you might be a little too flat-footed and a little too slow, you might have a little more snap on your punches, right? You're not going to freeze up and go to the ropes like he might have if he didn't have that confidence. So it adds a new wrinkle to it. I was honestly picking Ruiz before this fight. Now I'm not sure. I was really thinking Ruiz would have the mental advantage. I liked his hand speed before, and I really didn't like what I saw from Joshua at the end of that fight, but physically unprepared. I've just seen this too many times in boxing and in MMA. Big payday, and it's like, $10 million. You get in there and you just don't have the heart, you don't have desire. Now, I'm not sure about that, but that 20 pounds doesn't exactly make me feel great about it. So this is one of the few fights where the weigh-in, to me, makes a gigantic difference because there was a trap that Ruiz could not afford to fall into, and that's a trap of complacency. And if the weigh-in's any indication, he may have fallen into it. If he did, it's going to be a long night for him. So that's what I think. Joshua Ruiz Jr., let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I'll be back after the fight.